Hello and welcome to the Order 66 Sons of the Order podcast. We are the Sons of the Order. I am Lainey.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Jeff.
And that is all for today, guys.
And that is all. Well, this week we're going to be discussing what was called the Dallas Comic-Con. It went on last weekend. Not a bad show, but...
was it officially Dallas Comic-Con, or were they calling it Fan Days or Fan Expo, or what they call it?
Sure
they're calling it... The website says Dallas Fan Expo.
Mm-hmm.
Because the show in May...
So none of us were right.
No, the one in February is Fan Days. You know, the earlier one in the year?
Fan
whatever.
Days used to be... Wasn't that the one that was all Star Wars oriented, or
I don't know.
space and sci-fi or something?
Yeah, they like switch it off every year.
I remember way back in the day, they had like the actual like sci-fi expo. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I remember back when it was at the Plano Convention Center. Those used to be really good shows. I used to love those shows.
Yeah, but now it is now known as Dallas Comic-Con. Everybody was using the DCC hashtag for everything. So,
well, what's interesting is, I guess Ben Stevens and Mark Walters, or is it Walters or Waters?
I think it's Waters.
Is it Waters or Mark? Sold the show. So now it's owned by a company out of Canada.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Is that a recent development?
But they're still involved. They're still heavily involved.
Oh, no, they're still heavily involved. I think, I'm sure they have some kind of an agreement with the company to stay on board for a while. But I loved how the show was run.
It was very organized. The layout for it was really simple. It was like everything was on, the first, or maybe it was the second floor, I guess. But you had like on one far corner, it went from photo ops to autographs to like an area where the artists were, and then it went to the vendors, and then I didn't get to go to the other side of that, but.
Kind of some displays and stuff that was out there, some stagnant displays.
All I know is that every time I tried to make my way back to the booth, I got lost for like 15 minutes.
Wow.
That was just because the vendor area was confusing for me.
I guess we should start off by saying that Order 66 Toys had a booth out there. Mm-hmm. So we had a 10 by 20 booth. It was the same size that we used at Celebration. Basically the same type of setup. Like I said, it wasn't real profitable for us. And we'll discuss the reasons why. But as far as exposure, we had a great amount of exposure. We had several people from the Dallas area that didn't know that we actually had a retail store in McKinney, coming up to us and basically telling us how nice the booth looked and how interesting the items were in it.
Yeah, I think we got lots of good local exposure where, at a show like Celebration out in California, you're probably not going to see a lot of people making a special trip to Texas to go to the store, whereas in Dallas, it's a very real possibility.
Right.
Although we did have one, right?
Oh, we had some of our friends from the 501st that we met out in California come and visit us at our booth. That was really awesome. They were wearing the Order 66
T-shirt and hats.
Yeah, T-shirt and hats, and that was really cool to see. We're like, hey, we know you.
Yes.
Where's your receipt for that hat?
Would you like a receipt with that donut?
No, we do not need to bring in paper and pen and paper into this.
Paper and pen into this.
I used that at a convenience store recently.
I cannot see any reason.
I went in and bought something. I went and bought like a dirty gas station rolly hot dog. And they're
That's great, Joey.
And they're like, "You want a receipt?" Like, no, we do not need to bring a pen and paper into this.
Hey, you never know when you're going to need an alibi. I'm just saying.
That's true.
I cannot see any reason. And what were you going to file it under? Hot H for a hot dog.
I would just file it under R for regrets. That's what I would usually file that sort of thing under.
And thank you for our random Mitch Hedberg moment
Yep.
there. So what'd you think of the show, Miss Laney?
I had a lot of fun.
Now you were able to get out and visit with some of the autograph guests and do some photo ops and stuff like that.
On Friday, I was able to be at the show the entire day. Saturday and Sunday, on Saturday I got there at about I want to say 4:30ish, around somewhere around
towards
that.
the end of the day.
Towards the end of the day, and then Sunday I got there just in time for some photo ops that we had lined up. Friday was really cool because we got to have that photo op with who was it? Billy Piper, and then she was really nice.
Now, Billy Piper, that's the
She's
that's the girl from
Doctor
from Doctor
Who.
Who.
Yeah, she was Ten's companion, also known as Bad Wolf, and she's awesome. She's really pretty. She was wearing really high heels, and that was cool.
Well, she's like 5 nothing, so she needs to wear something.
Now, she was in a Showtime thing too, right? Diary
yeah,
of
we
a Call Girl or
can't talk
something.
about that show on here.
Well, we're not going to talk about what the show was. We're just mentioning was called Diary of a Call Girl, right?
I
Right.
had some real problems with the cinematography in that show.
Why is this blurred out?
So we did that. Oh, I got to meet. Oh man, I always forget his like real life name, but he was Herschel from The Walking Dead. Now I didn't get to get a photo op or an autograph or anything, but
His name isn't. It's not Mitch, is it? Or is it
I don't.
No,
I don't
Mitch was-
remember.
Mike? Ah, crap.
I don't remember.
I don't remember his name.
Oh, Mitch was there too. Mitch.
Herschel from The Walking Dead.
Herschel from The Walking Dead. He didn't have a line at his little table when we walked by, and so Chuck had met him before, and he was like, "Do you want to go meet him?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yeah!" And so we walked right up to him, and he was just the sweetest man ever. Oh my gosh, he was just so nice.
See, I really need to do that. I always kind of avoid the autograph area because I just think, oh, the lines are going to be crazy for everybody. Why waste my time over there? But I mean, yeah, you can have a chance to meet some people otherwise.
Well, I got to shake his hand. I was like, "It's such a pleasure meeting you." And he was like, "Are you having fun?" And I was like, "Oh, I am now that I met you." And he high-fived me. He was like, "That's what I'm talking about." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, high fives from Herschel." Then Saturday, I had we had a photo op with Carrie Fisher.
Very nice.
She was pretty cool too. We had
She's from what movie again? I forget.
She was in Blues Brothers.
She was in
Blues
Jay and
Brothers.
Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, Fanboys.
Fanboys.
She was in Fanboys.
Yeah.
She had a guest spot on Big Bang Theory once.
She was in something else, but I can't remember quite what
I
it
thought
was.
she was in some
She was in Star Trek, right?
trilogy of some sort.
It'll come. It'll
Come to us.
But
She was a hoot. She was cool.
she had her dog with her.
Yeah. When I saw her, when she did her panel at Celebration, the dog was present for that as well.
Okay. Well, are we allowed to give the little spoiler that we learned while we were out there?
Oh yeah. Well,
That's-
I mean, I don't think that spoiler is a spoiler anymore
think
with
it's
what
a
I
spoiler.
told you about. It's on our Facebook page. Joe doesn't know about it regarding the comic books.
Wow. Well,
See how contradictory that is?
absolutely.
Oh
Between
man,
the movie and back.
Joe! We're just gonna have
Joey
to talk
Barr.
about
No.
it.
No, we're going to talk about part of it here. We,
I am up on most of the comic books, but not all.
well, like it is at most shows that we set up, we end up attracting a lot of the vintage collectors. And because of that, they bring different items up to us to look at and appraise and give our opinions on. Well, during this one particular day, it was it Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
It was Sunday. Carrie Fisher was signing autographs, and one of our friends, kind of from the store, had a vintage Carrie Fisher Princess Leia Empire Strikes Back figure, I guess, but of Leia, and it was a nice figure. It was probably a mid-grade 70 type of piece, and he had it signed by Carrie Fisher, which I thought was fabulous. The piece looked great. The signature was awesome, but there was something very unique about the signature. And supposedly she was asked to stop doing this, but she signed it Carrie Fisher, Mrs. Han Solo.
Dun dun dun.
And see, I actually saw this post floating around on the internet. You're probably thinking of the same thing that I saw. Anyway, yeah.
But I thought,
What thing?
It was a post. Basically, somebody posted on one of the movie websites along the same lines as what you're talking about. And Mark, well, we just said his name, Mark Walters.
Walters, right.
Walters.
He chimed in and said that apparently she's done that over the years. So he said it's not terribly uncommon.
oh, that she would sign Mrs. Han Solo?
Yeah,
Okay.
just sometimes. Yeah, not all the time, but just every now and then.
I
I don't know.
I thought it was really interesting, and being an autograph collector and Star Wars a dealer now for over 5 years, I thought it was really interesting to see that she would sign her name like that.
Yeah. Now, to anybody who's read the expanded universe, that's no surprise, but they have more or less done away with the expanded universe.
Joe,
So,
hurry up and read the comics, Joe.
whatever.
I want to talk about that. It's
Can
like
one of the interns please get Joey a copy of the new?
You act like I'm so out of the loop. Apparently, this thing only happened like 2 days ago.
yeah, I know, and like we have to talk about it. Like
That's
it's
2
I'm
days
bursting. You know,
in Star Wars time.
sometimes Joe, sometimes you're mean to me, so I'm kind of tempted to just spoil
When
it
the
for you.
episode 7 trailer came out, how long had it been on the internet for before we saw it?
Like 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, 200 people in the back room watching it at the store?
No, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we turned the lights down and watched it. And
That's right, because it was like released, and I remember like coming at you, like you had been watching it since like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I came in and
well, Josh
people were
Josh had an alarm on his phone,
yeah.
which I thought was pretty funny.
Well, they premiere. Okay, which are you talking about? The
teaser,
second?
the teaser.
Oh,
The
the first
first
teaser.
teaser.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the second teaser. All right.
so
Joe, seriously though,
yeah, you need to catch up on stuff there, Joe.
yeah.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
So, I guess we all have different reasons and different thoughts on why the show didn't go as well as it should have. I mean, nothing is going to be the caliber of doing Celebration in Los Angeles. That was the best show I've ever heard of. And being around for years and years, I think I had one convention I did at the Sahara in like 1990 or something that I made more money at, but
Like the desert.
Sahara, Las Vegas. Did you? One of my thoughts was the huge amount of like really stellar guests they had. I mean, it was the first time. Well, they had Adam West and Burt Ward, so Batman and Robin. They had several people from The Walking Dead.
Herschel, Lenny James, Dean Cain was there.
I didn't see Dean.
I saw him. Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk from Firefly were there.
I personally got to meet Karen Gillan, Billy Piper, and Stan Lee.
Stan the Man.
Yep.
Now, did you go to the photo op with Stan Lee or
Yes.
not? That must have been awesome.
Oh, it went by so fast. Like I kind of blinked and it was over, but he was like those 30 seconds of interaction that he had with us were just like really cool. Like he makes sure that he's like, "Oh, we did great. We did a good, blah blah," and it was such a nice thing.
That sounded exactly like Stan Lee.
Thanks.
When you said it. I think that when Stan Lee listens to this podcast, he's going to say, "Oh my goodness, Lainey nailed it.
I need to.
He nailed my voice." Oh,
but as far as like the organization skills of like the team that was working with the photo ops, it was absolutely fabulous because the longest line that we stood in for was Carrie Fisher, and we were there for maybe like an hour ish. But like once the line got moving, it was just one after another.
So was Carrie the main star of the show?
I would say yes. I mean, you had a couple high caliber people of recent stuff like
several.
Robert Lord Taylor from Gotham was there.
I heard he was awesome.
Yeah.
And he Chuck and Melissa
Melissa and her friend Mary had a photo op with him, and Mary came prepared with like handcuffs and a little police badge. And so apparently Melissa just went up to him and said, "Sir, you were under arrest." And this guy just like puts his arms out, and like the picture is just so cute. You can see it up on Facebook. But he was funny. He looked so funny in the picture. It was great.
I don't know. I'd be nervous if a couple fans showed up with handcuffs. Yeah. I hope these are coming off after this is over.
Right.
Okay, I had a question about your photo op with Carrie Fisher. Just a weird thing. I mean, because the show on that day ended at 7. Her photo op started at 6:15. Did they really expect to get through it in 45 minutes?
They did not, and it
or was
didn't,
it just understood this is going to run long?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even our line. There was like 3 or 4 lines. Didn't even start moving until way after the show was already over.
Oh, it was near 9 or.
No, it was not 9.
I thought it was no. By the time we got out of there.
By the time we got out of there,
8:30.
it was like
8:30?
yeah, it was probably 8:30.
But still, it's celebration. They were shutting the lights off and shooting people.
I think that what happened was like she was still doing signings at her booth. By the time like she like actually went by there and started the photo op. So she was trying to get everybody done as quickly as possible, and she posed really cute with us, and our picture is awesome.
No, I heard she was really sweet. She's what, 50, 59? 58 or 59?
She's up there, but I definitely
What do you
think
mean
that
she's up there?
she's like as old as you.
Carrie, call me. Yes.
She's like as old as you.
Okay,
Up
great.
there.
Thanks.
I did hear a funny story about she did her panel on Friday night, her Q&A, and I guess somebody was out there. I mean, she had her dog with her, as she always does, and then some guy gets up and asks a question at the mic, and something about how his daughter was such a big fan and how he was so happy that somebody like Carrie Fisher could be a role model, a hero role model for girls growing up and that sort of thing. And so Carrie like invited this little girl up to the stage, and she was like, "Aren't you excited to come up here?" or something like that. And she's like, "I just wanted to pet the dog."
Oh, that's awesome.
They had wrestlers.
I heard Goldberg was there, but I never saw him.
I wanted to go see Big Bill. I saw a couple photos that had been signed that people were carrying around, but I didn't know where he was at. But he's a huge car aficionado. So he even had I don't remember what the name of it was. Recently, he had a show on TV where he repaired or restored vintage.
So kind of like Pimp My Ride, but
Yeah, but
for like
Goldberg
older.
style with the jackhammer.
I'm not into wrestling so much now, but I was more into wrestling in like the late '90s, and Goldberg was amazing whenever he was.
Goldberg
on there.
was the man,
Yeah,
but he had the look. He was a big guy.
he was just
Came from
tear
the Atlanta
just tear you
Falcons.
up, so.
Josh got a really great autograph of
Giancarlo
Giancarlo,
Esposito.
who was
Mr. Gus Fring on Breaking Bad.
one of the greatest villains in my mind.
I heard he was selling and signing razor blades. Is that
Well,
true?
not razor blades.
What was it?
Box cutters.
Box cutters.
Because
Same thing.
during season 4,
Right.
one of the big scenes was he steps behind a guy and cuts his neck with a box cutter. And for $75, you could get a Gus signed box cutter.
Or I could bring in one that I get from Home Depot for $2 and get him to sign it.
Well,
Then
I think
the
he was
autograph
charging.
the autograph would still be $70.
Yeah.
So he was
Right.
probably charging like $5 for it, and then
All I know is that he was a really nice guy, and
Well, for somebody so sinister as far as this character goes, you
Anything-
got to overcompensate by being super nice.
no, I mean, I think it's neat that some of these actors, what we consider like the older actors that have been around for a while, and they get these roles that just make them. And I've seen other things that he's done, when he was younger, but this whole thing as Gus just was, was really cool. So
Los Pollos Hermanos,
this is what Chicken
the
Brothers.
Chicken Brothers.
Hmm. I heard a rumor that they were going to actually try and start a legit chain.
That would be so
Yeah.
awesome.
Somebody's got the name. They have to.
Yeah.
So that would be funny. I mean, just as a hoot.
So what other thing, did we run into anybody dealer-wise that we hadn't seen for a while? Or
Saw an old buddy of mine, John Brett, who's an autograph dealer, was set up next to us. Had some pretty amazing stuff. Whip Weasel was there.
Donald.
No.
We saw our friends from the Alamo Draft House. We saw our friends from Collected. I actually stopped. I don't know if you did, but I stopped
No,
by.
I didn't see him.
I stopped by and said hello, and they had a good show. And who else did we see? I don't know. I was really personally really impressed with all of the artists that were set up there. I got a print myself. That is really super awesome. And I mean, a lot of these people were just like, oh my gosh, like I personally am not artistic at all. So I don't understand what goes through the mind of people who are, and they just like sit down and like draw out things or like watercolor it up or whatever it is they do with their pencils. But it blew my mind.
Well, we did. We were set up in booth 592, and we had one of the all-time DC Comics living legends that's set up right next to us, to the left of it, or to the right of us. That was Neil Adams. And I know it's kind of getting off the track a little bit, but I mean, he was back in the late 70s, early 80s, probably one of the most well-known DC comic artists of all time. and it was nice to see Neil out there.
I'm really sad that I didn't get to meet the Smosh guys. Do you know who they are?
I've heard of them, but I don't really know.
They're like YouTube people, and they like review games, and they're super funny. They play pranks on each other and stuff. I saw their booth once, like way after the Carrie Fisher photo op, but they were gone, and I was like, oh, I need to go by and do this tomorrow, and didn't get a chance to, and then I was like, damn, oh my god, why? So Smosh, next time.
Was there, besides them, were there any celebrities that you would have liked to have went up and talked to or met that you didn't get a chance to see while you were out there?
Tara Strong. I don't know if you guys remember one of our earlier podcasts where we described who we would like to meet and stuff. She's on my list, and I almost got to talk to her on Friday, almost. But unfortunately, I had to watch over the booth, and she was like right across the hall from where we were by the sugar gliders, and she was looking at him, and I was just like waiting for her to like make a move so that it wouldn't be like weird, that I would like run up to her or something. But next time I'll get a chance to thank her for mine and my daughter's childhood. So that'll be fun.
What was she in? That's a Pinkie Pie or something.
Yeah, no, she's Twilight Sparkle.
Twilight Sparkle.
She's Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls. She's Timmy Turner. She's been a lot. She was Harley Quinn in Arkham Asylum. She's done a lot of characters.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me see. I'm a big Firefly guy, so I went to the Firefly Q&A, and I actually was one of the last people to get up and actually ask a question. And for all the people that asked questions, they were actually giving autographs, so that was pretty cool.
So it was
I got
fun.
an autograph from Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk.
That's got to be one of the coolest autograph
It was
ever. Cause
I'm not a big autograph guy, but I was like, I went up there, grabbed it in my hands, all shaking and everything.
So what it is, guys, it's basically like a business card. On one side, it has Nathan Fillion's signature, and then on the other side, it says
his real signature.
I got it pulled up. It said, it was a business card. He says he hands it out to people he says he hands it out to scary people that come up to him on the street and like stop him, and they're just like really in his face, like here. But yeah, it's a little business card, and it says, "This is to certify that you just met Nathan Fillion. How did you do?" And then there's a list that you can select from. It says, "Great, he was impressed and now calls you friend. You called him captain, and it was good. It was friendly, you connected. You were nervous and blushed the whole time. You interrupted his dinner to ask for a photo, and then there are charges pending." So
it's
when I give out autographs, I'm gonna follow the same format. I think that's cool.
follows leading. Tweak it just a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
there was another panel I went to. An author named Kevin J. Anderson. He's actually written a bunch of the Star Wars books, so that was kind of cool to go to. It was weird though, because I've never been in a situation like this before. His panel was in one of the little side meeting rooms. There was only like 20 people in there, and so it felt really weird. It was like, surely there should be more people coming in to attend this Q&A session, but not really.
I would have.
He's done Star Wars books. He's done a bunch of the Dune books that have come out recently, and a bunch of his own original stuff. It seems like he puts out a book a year. He just writes like crazy. But he did some of the better Star Wars books towards when they first started releasing them in the mid '90s. The first set, I want to say the first set was by Timothy Zahn, and then I think he came in after that he did the Jedi Academy trilogy and
Stackholm or Stackholm.
I don't know.
The other one that after Tim Zahn.
Mm.
I missed seeing Adam West and Burt Ward.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam. I was at a.
I never saw him there.
I was at a. Well, they had him kind of in a special area, I
guess.
think. But I was in at a show in Tulsa back when what was it, the Tulsa Comic Con or the Trek Con or whatever they used to call it. But Adam West was there with his new nephew, or not, son-in-law. And I had a booth set up with Donald, with Whip Weasel. And this guy came up and he goes, wow, this is really cool. You know, we had a lot of vintage toys, but a lot of things from early Batman, from the 64, 65, 66 series.
What, like the Mego stuff?
Oh, we had Migos. We had, we had a bedspread. We had a lot of the Adam West era Batman items. And he came up and he goes, wow, this is so cool. He goes, maybe you'd like to meet my father-in-law. And I said, sure. I said, I don't know who your father-in-law is, but I'd gladly meet him. And a couple minutes later, he walked over with Adam West. And, hello, citizens. But, I just messing with him. I said, oh, my God, it's a Mayor Quahog. So.
They've just recently come out with a bunch of new vintage Batman stuff. I can't remember what company puts them out, but yeah, they just started a couple years ago, a new line of figures based on the 60s Batman.
Love it.
New vintage.
Well, I grew up with Batman, so that was, that was all stuff that I saw, on TV when they had originally come out. So. Anything going on here at the store? Anything?
Yes. Oh my gosh. We have a brand new Black Series display that is absolutely awesome. So thanks and shout out to Red Leader who worked really hard on it. It looks super great. We got a whole bunch of new stuff, that we've never had in the store before. That will be having its own little display here pretty soon. But we're trying to find, some space for now. Have we talked about...
Isn't it crazy how you can have a 4,000 square foot store and be out of room?
It's amazing.
We have to knock a wall down or something, expand even more.
Well, if you're not collecting the Black Series, you should be.
Well, people come into the store kind of on a regular basis asking, what is it that we should collect? And my go-to answer is the Black Series. So the Black Series came out, 2014?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not too long ago.
About a year ago, right?
Yeah.
And the idea was that after Disney after Lucasfilms, LFL, was purchased by the Disney Corporation, these were the first set of toys to come out under the Disney name. So if you look back and you say, well, the stuff that I remember when I was, I was in high school going into college, was the, we'll call it Generation 1 stuff. So we'll steal a line from Transformers, but we'll call it the Gen 1 stuff. And that was 77 to 84, 85. And then Star Wars had its second resurgence about 1995 when the movies were re-released, when they were doing episode 1, 2, and 3. And then we could call Generation 3 or Gen 3 would be the 2014 stuff that came out under the Disney logo. So now there's maybe 30 or 40 pieces?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what all you're talking about. I mean, they've got the 6-inch series, obviously, but then they've also got 3 3/4-inch series. It's also under the Black Line label.
And there's
when
Rebel stuff.
Yeah, when you factor in exclusives for stores and stuff like that, then there's a decent amount of Black Series stuff.
But it's an obtainable. It's a finite set right now.
Yeah.
So it's something that. Well, it's not a finite set. They're still making them, but it's something that with a limited amount of money, you can come in and you can just about purchase every single item for, in the $30 range, with a couple exceptions.
Yeah.
And then the Boba Fett with the carbonite and the Jabba in the castle.
Exclusives.
The two San Diego Comic-Con exclusives are naturally a little bit more.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, the 6-inch line is just so cool to me because, I mean, if you've collected Star Wars figures in the past, you're very well familiar with the 3 3/4-inch size. You're familiar with, they've done a little bit of 12-inch stuff also, but the 6-inch line is just really interesting because it still technically falls into the action figure category, but it's just really highly detailed, highly articulated. And I mean, when you find them retail, they're like $20.
Right,
it's a step up from the 3 3/4-inch, but it's at the same time it's not something that's super expensive or unattainable like some of the sideshow collectible statues or the Kotobukiya stuff.
I think you kind of hit it on the fact that. I think maybe the 6-inch are more designed towards a more adult market.
Yeah.
As opposed to the 3 3/4.
And like I said, I've just been I've got a few of them, and I've just been really impressed with the amount of detail that they put into them. Just for an example, I usually open all of my stuff, which I know is the cardinal sin for if you're going to call yourself a collector. But I've got a 6-inch Darth Vader that I took out of the package, and and not only does his helmet come off, it comes off in 2 sections like it does in the movie, the dome and then the mask. But then when you look inside the helmet, there's actually detail work on the inside of the helmet that you would never even see if you left it in the package. But it's just attention to little details like that is just really cool to me.
You know how hard those are to come across, Joe?
The Vader's actually a pretty good piece.
I got a great deal on him. I found him retail for $20. I don't feel too bad.
He's cheating on us, Jeffrey.
He's cheating on us.
But yeah, like I said, the Black Series is just really cool. Now, what's interesting about the 3 3/4-inch version of that is they're still putting out some of the expanding universe characters over there, like Mara Jade is in there, Galen Malik, or Starkiller from the Force Awakens video game is in there.
Bastila Shan.
Yeah.
Those are really cool, but as like a vendor, as a retail person, I really hate them because the bubble comes off so
Absolutely.
easily on those figures. Go to like these big box stores, half of them are taped back on. Like they're just not. If you're gonna get them, you might as well open them because the bubble's not gonna stay on there at all.
Quality control issue.
Yeah.
I think when it comes down to it, a couple of those are going to be legitimately rare to have sealed on the card. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's a problem with the glue or heat or something, but.
Well, and then you've said that in the past when we have talked about getting things AFA graded, there's a lot of people that are just sending in unopened cases to AFA and getting them all encapsulated and everything, uncirculated, case fresh, for future.
Well, AFA started
stuff.
that, and for people that know that aren't aware of it, AFA stands for the Action Figure Authority, and it's a company that was started out of Atlanta, Georgia, that to help collectors and to set up a standard of a standard that we could all use, both in retail and wholesale and trading of these items. Assigned a numerical expression to these pieces and encapsulated them and authenticated them. So it's like grading a coin or a comic book.
And what's interesting to me is they have also got a separate little branch that I saw when they were set up at celebration, they will encapsulate and grade like old video game stuff, like
Oh, right.
like Nintendo cartridges, Game Boy stuff.
They call it the VGA.
Yeah, so that's
So
kinda
Video
interesting
Game
to see.
Authority. But
Let's just grade all the things.
well, what we were
If it's a thing, we can grade it.
what we were discussing was how AFA came out with this U grade. So they would assign a U to an item that was uncirculated or never used, and that I don't know. I'm not real big on that. That kind of takes the fun out of the toy collecting.
So, okay, let's what exactly does uncirculated mean? It means my bubble broke, but the figure is still nice and the card is still nice. I can still send my figure to AFA.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, would that fall? That wouldn't make it considered uncirculated, though.
Well,
Would it?
uncirculated would be it'd be more like a vintage figure. Say a Luke Skywalker
If you had an unopened case.
that was on a card,
Yeah.
but the card was so severely damaged
Oh, okay.
that you would open the card and open the bubble and take that Luke Skywalker out, and it would be an uncirculated piece. But they would do that at AFA. We don't do that when we send them in. Let's see. Any news coming up? There's kind of a big thing coming up as far as the store.
Dun da da da.
Here's your spoiler for the day. We're actually looking at expanding the brand.
The
And-
order is going to strike back.
The order is striking back. And what that means is we're looking at a new store in North Kansas City, Missouri. So 312 Armour Road in North Kansas City. Kind of a familiar stomping spot for me. I actually grew up in North Kansas City. My grandfather used to be the chief of police there, and we've kind of chosen that as the second location for this for our new store. Might be fun. So
You say might.
nothing is ever as it appears.
The only thing that I'm just going to be sad is sounds like the band might be breaking up, or at
Well-
least temporarily.
No, just we've got to take one of our stars and put that star in a position where she
I wonder who it is.
can be the manager of this new store. And we're actually thinking of, and this is, I know this isn't much of a spoiler, but maybe having Lainey run that new store for us. Let's see, anything else? We're actually looking at an event in September, right?
Right.
September 5th for the store. So
yeah. You just put that post on Facebook.
Yep.
we did just post this. September 5th, we're looking at our 5th year in business as Order 66 Toys. And because of that, we're planning on one of our big cosplay events out here at 111 South Chestnut. And seeing if we can get the 501st Stormtroopers out and the Mandalorian Mercs, and just having one of our big events out here.
Those are usually pretty fun. What kind of things do we usually see?
There's a cosplay contest that goes on, so everybody's
Well,
encouraged.
What is cosplay?
Cosplay is just a fancy word for costume.
So it's
Dressing
costume
up.
play.
Yeah, costume play.
So you dress up as your favorite Star Wars or a superhero. We don't make it specifically Star Wars, but if you want to come out as Iron Man or Ariel or one of your favorite characters.
If I come out here dressed as Captain Picard, I'm not going to get shot down.
You will get shot down.
You will lose.
Never mind.
The line from Fanboys. They keep the phaser in the display case. And
Why do you have it?
why do you have that?
Also, this summer we are looking for new interns. One of our interns, Liam, just graduated the internship, as now he's an employee.
Well, he turned 16.
He graduated.
So that was the big thing. He turned 16 years old, and for all of you that are out there and listening to the podcast and say, "Wow, this sounds like it'd really be fun," and maybe someday I'd like to work in a toy store like Order 66 Toys. What we started was our own internship program, and it's where we take guys and girls under the age of 16, with their parents' permission, of course. They come out and they work at the store, and they do that once or twice a week for a couple weeks, so that we can see what they're made of. Give them an opportunity to basically earn a position with the store, because honestly, any given day we get 5 or 6 people that are applying for jobs. We've probably got 100 resumes in the back, and it's just not a position that we hand out to anybody.
So what would make what qualifications would a good intern have?
You must be awesome.
You must express a level of awesomeness that is beyond anyone else of awesomeness. I think what we're looking for is...
Are we looking for like a young Robert Downey Jr. to walk in?
No, we're looking...
We're looking for a young Laney.
I think we're looking for a combination between Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, and Yoda. But much younger.
Way younger.
Way younger. Somebody that's got, a nice appearance, but somebody that fits in with a kind of the geek culture a little bit. So you don't have to be straight-laced. Josh has got tattoos. Laney's, we never know what color hair Laney's going to have. From one week to the next, it could be anything.
Something tells me that there aren't going to be many 12 to 15-year-olds with tattoos out there, Jeffrey.
Well, what I'm saying is that those aren't something that would lose you the job.
Right. We're basically looking for, not straight A kids, but kids with good grades
somebody
who are
who's responsible.
Right.
But somebody that enjoys the genre, that enjoys science fiction, enjoys specifically Star Wars.
Honestly, it would be the perfect thing for me if I was in that age group, because the first job I got was at Toys R Us. On paper, it was to pay off a speeding ticket that I got.
Nice.
But for real, I wanted to get first dibs on all the Star Wars figures.
Yes.
That's the real reason.
That's why you can never find. You go to a Toys R Us or Walmart or Target.
Why are there no good toys out?
That's because all of the kids in the back room take them all.
Yep.
You walk in the back and there's a bucket there that says, "Do not remove by order of Joey."
That's why you got to make friends with, at least back when I was working, try and make friends with the people that work there, and then maybe you can get them to set something aside for you.
No, I agree.
It's a dirty, dirty business when you're in the collectible toys world.
But we're looking for somebody that's got a good ethical background, somebody that's intelligent, that that handles himself well, that's well spoken, but that can answer some trivia questions. And we're and trust me, the way that Liam, our president employee / number one intern got his position here at the store is because he was the best at the trivia contest. And he's just a really smart guy.
We miss you, Liam.
Well, you just had somebody come into the store today that showed you something you didn't know about episode 3. It was playing on the TV.
Oh, right. There's actually a scene in episode 3 that shows the Millennium Falcon, which I thought was really unusual. But we found it on the Blu-ray disc and was able to bring it up and see it. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if you're not paying close attention, you'll definitely miss it. But it's there.
Anything else going on? So we have September 5th, which just to recap real quick was the cosplay day. We are looking for interns. I think our next show that we have slated, our next big show, is going to be in August. That's the Kansas City Comic Con.
What days are those again?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look. It's on the schedule, but
My birthday's in August.
that's one of our next shows.
Kansas City Comic Con.
Yeah, KCCC.
If it'll pull up on my phone.
Pull up the guests on that too. Let's see who's going to be there.
I don't think they have a large guest list yet.
I just want to know when I'm going to be able to meet Stephen Amell.
He's there.
Oh my gosh.
It says it is August 7th through the 9th.
Excellent.
August 7th through the 9th.
Sean Astin will be there.
Nice.
Who's that?
What the?
Rudy.
Yeah, he was Rudy. He was Mikey in the Goonies. He was Sam in the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, okay. I know who he is. I'm just bad with
he
names.
was on.
He was a hobbit.
Yeah, he was a very funny character in 50 First Dates as a roided out like bodybuilder.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
With a lisp.
Forgot about that.
Who else, Joe?
I'm glad they're starting to put people on there now.
Sean Astin, Colin Baker, who was a former doctor. A bunch of people that I do not recognize at all. One of the former Power Rangers.
Ooh.
Austin St. John.
What color?
Red. I think he was like one of the originals.
Isn't he the guy that had the fight with somebody?
He might have.
I doubt it.
It's funny, the Power Rangers, a lot of them were legitimate.
Mr. Manu Bennett, otherwise known as Slade Wilson from Arrow.
Oh, yes.
And it says he was in the Hobbit trilogy, which I didn't recognize. I didn't recognize him in the Hobbit at all. Unless he was like one of the crazy orcs or something.
Probably. I mean, honestly, like if you listen to his voice, like think about Slade Wilson's voice.
Yeah.
And imagine him.
I just think my life would be better if I had a voice like his. If I had a voice like his, or if I had a voice like Kiefer Sutherland, I'd have a much better life than I have right now.
There's only but one voice.
You know, I think you would sound much better as like a Barry White.
No. If I wanted one voice, it'd have to be James Earl Jones. Because this is CNN.
A very distinguished voice.
Nailed it.
Not at all.
Anything else we need to see in this issue of our of the Order 66 podcast?
Other than shout outs to Chuck and James and Liam and Red Leader, aka Josh. We miss you guys. There was a lot of dead air because you guys weren't here.
Well,
Oh, guys, how did I forget this? The Rebels figures are now on the website.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, so whenever you get a chance, just check that out at order66toys.net. It's been out there for a few days, but it just slipped my mind, I guess.
And I will say that I was hesitant about Rebels because, well, I was hesitant about Rebels. I was hesitant about the Clone Wars series because I had always heard like really mixed reviews about Clone Wars, and I figured Rebels would probably end up being the same way. Long story short, before we went to Celebration, I started watching Clone Wars all the way through. I finished it a little bit after Celebration, and I was not terribly impressed with that series. So I was kind of dragging my heels about Rebels. I finally got around to watching it, and that show is actually really good. I was really surprised at how well it's turned out.
I really liked it, and I found it like really easy to introduce Star Wars to my little girl who's 5. She loves it, and they do a great job. It's like, oh, this is the Force, and this is what it does, and blah blah. You can do this and that, and da 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 da. And she's just like, whoa, I love the bean.
Yeah,
Sabine.
yeah. The characters are really cool.
What's he call her?
The bean.
The bee.
Yeah. The bean, and then Wookiees are the cute puppy dog bears. Yeah.
Something.
And one thing,
The bean. That's funny.
I had heard about the droid Chopper going into the series, and I was like, what are they doing? This dumb... What's this gimmick with this droid? This beat-up droid... Whatever.
It's like an R2-D2 wannabe.
He's like one of my favorite characters
Yeah.
on there. He's just a spunky droid that's got a lot of attitude with him, and he's just fun. I want to see at all these different conventions, they usually have like a droid builder area with these life-size working droids. I want to see somebody with a chopper droid. That would be really cool.
I have a special request for our listeners. I had this brilliant idea about these shirts that we're trying to make. But if you go on Facebook and tell Jeffrey that you would totally buy a shirt that says "Get to the Chopper" with a little picture of Chopper, on it, just let him know that you would buy it, and we'll totally make him.
That's the first I've heard of it. I'm gonna voice my support. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Oh, wait a second. We have a phone call from Arnold Schwarzenegger. What, Arnold? Suing us.
We don't have to put, like the actual
What?
word like chopper.
Are
We
you
just have
serious?
to like
You actually said that in a
put
movie?
him on there.
Really? It was what? Get to the chopper? So I don't remember that movie. I'm sorry. Okay, guys. Well, Arnold is now off the phone. He sounded pissed. I don't know. Those guys with German accents all sound pissed. But Australian, I'm sorry.
Austria.
Austrian.
Oh, hell, he's ringing again. There's Arnold.
Well, guys, thanks for listening. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We don't currently have a MySpace. I think those days are over.
Please go on Facebook, and if you're interested in becoming an intern, which basically means you're going to work for nothing as one of our slaves here around the store, but it's got an upside. There's a potential $3.25 job in your future.
That's more than I get paid.
But that's so. What do you think, Lenny? You like to sign off, or?
Well, we are the Sons of the Order, guys. I am Lainey.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Jeff, and
May the Force be with you.
And also with you.
Hare Krishna.